The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. And good morning, and I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater. 65 degrees, kind of foggy out. I've got about a quarter-mile visibility coming into work here. Kind of spooky, but kind of nice.
Yeah, sure. And if you have any questions for our show, you can contact me at paige@tfnn.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com. Of course, we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. Happy holidays.
I know, it's upon us. We're down into the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh.
Aren't we?
Yeah, I guess we, yeah. It's like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a little get-together this past weekend.
It sure was nice. We were partying at Nico's.
Yeah, and did you notice the food? I fixed most of the food myself. I made chicken wings. I had that great ham from Portugal, from that black.
Yeah, how aged did you say that ham was?
4 years aged. In fat. I mean, you can see that whole fat covering.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Very interesting. And I made my beautiful wild wings. They were good. And most of the stuff that we had out was protein-based with fat added.
Sure was. You did have Ellen's world-famous
the paleo
brownies.
Yeah, which are really good, too. And those were definitely
And you had the drunk olives?
We had drunk olives. We had a lot of stuff. Notice people were just picking a little bit here and there.
Yes.
Nobody really ate before they came. But they didn't need to eat too much, and part of the discussion today.
There weren't any chips or breads or pasta.
No, and everybody was happy. Of course, the alcohol helps. Everybody's
sure.
drinking a little bit, but that was a lot of fun. I wanted to talk a little bit about the different kind of diets, especially focusing on the low carbohydrate and what people are saying about it. I've got a few articles here, all from different sources. Some of them very medical, some of them just people who are interested in it. And I just want to discuss, because there's still a lot of confusion about what is what and why certain diets work.
I agree. I think we need to share more information. This is a big topic of discussion in health today.
Yes.
And, we can kind of highlight that whereas there are many diets that embrace a low carbohydrate. There's not just one diet. There's different little versions of it. And we've got some great information. Let's open with this clinical study that was published in the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association. It was December of this year. And really the question is, are low-carbohydrate diets safe and effective? And I'll just do a little introduction, then we'll get into some of the facts.
Well, it's an interesting question, because for many years, most mainstream doctors, when we talk about ketosis...
Oh, they would just give fear. Their eyes would lighten up.
Yes,
They'd tell their clients, watch out.
Because they were talking about the
diabetic
ketosis, which is a completely different thing, because diabetics don't have the way to control their blood sugar, whether it's high or low, because there's no insulin there, so they have to have shots for that. And when you introduce the fat, then that becomes a problem for them, because they have no way of controlling the fat, whether it's being converted or not.
Yeah, that is a different issue. So a lot of people, but that was, again, that's what they were taught, and it just kind of perpetuated through society. But what we, as we know, so just a couple of points. The rates of obesity have dramatically increased since the 70s.
Right.
And it's the second leading preventative cause of death in the United States. Listen to that. Obesity is the second largest preventative cause of death. Death is caused by obesity. In 2014 alone, the U.S. weight loss market totaled $64 billion, and approximately 20% of all adults were attempting to lose weight through various diets. I thought it was really funny. They started looking at low-carbohydrate diets with as far back as 1869. There was a Dr. William Banting. He wrote a letter of corpulence.
Corpulence, yes.
Which is, kind of eating excess.
Right,
You know?
and that was in 1869. In 1972, of course, Dr. Atkins' diet revolution, the high-calorie way to stay thin forever. Notably, Atkins did not publish any safety or
Efficacy findings.
Right, in a peer-reviewed scientific journey. Since then, many variations of low-carb have been popularized.
Yeah, a lot of people get confused about it and the restrictions because of changing guidelines. And, it sounds like even our government has been confused about what's healthy for us. And the 2015 U.S. Department of Agriculture's dietary guidelines adjusted some long-held tenets of healthful eating, and they included the removal of the cholesterol intake limitation. That was a big move in 2015 last year, realizing they did not need to restrict cholesterol. And so the low-fat philosophy of the past several decades has been called into question. And with publications, we're starting to see that they're dismissing the long-held link between saturated fat intake and cardiovascular disease and obesity as well.
Yeah, now there's a lot of different names for these popular low-carbohydrate diets. We have the ketogenic diet. We have the Atkins diet. We have the Eco-Atkins diet.
South Beach, the Zone, Paleo, Sugar Busters, Protein Power. It goes on and on.
And Sonoma, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, well, no, that's kind of like based off of that South Beach. It's kind of like the Mediterranean flavor.
Right.
But I think what the key point is that a lot of it's marketing. The whole premise is, are the carbohydrates held under, say, 100 grams or even lower into the 40 grams at certain diets?
Yeah, and some of them, if you're talking about ketogenic, you're talking maybe 30 grams, 25 or 30 grams.
Right. It says here under 50 grams. And, for a small person like me, it would definitely be like 30. But so I think that... one of the things that came up here, and they said that there was a clinical question.
Okay.
The clinical question is, are the carbohydrate diets safe and effective for weight loss and cardiovascular and metabolic health?
So they were looking just specifically at those two different things.
Yeah. And they said that the evidence, we'll see what it says farther in this article, but it said in the short term, this was the evidence to date, low-carbohydrate diets may be slightly better than low-fat diets for weight and triglyceride management, but they said they were not superior for the management of blood glucose, blood pressure, or cholesterol levels. And the recommendation for physicians should be to be aware that available evidence for low-carb diets is limited because of varying definitions, lack of long-term studies, lack of patient adherence, and however, many do see modest benefits in short-term weight loss compared with those who follow low-fat diets.
So how do we define and classify these low-fat diets? The definition of the low-fat diet is highly variable. Some restrict carbohydrates to a percentage of calories consumed. Others restrict absolute grams of carbohydrates. So an example here, a 2014 systematic review of randomized controlled trials had said that less than 45% of energy intake from carbohydrates by comparison of the completely typical Western diet would be like 50%. So that's not a lot of difference.
Okay, so yeah, in general, what we've talked about is they've had a hard time defining what it is. We're going to have to take a short break, but we'll come back with a review of the literature and give you some of the evidence and the effects of low-carb diets on weight loss and general health. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a moment.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
We'll see.
Okay, welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. We've been kind of going over this just off the press journal article that was trying to compare the health benefits, the weight loss, and are they safe? Are low-calorie diets safe? It was really rather huge.
Well, first of all, it's an article that typically doctors would be reading because
it's a journal article.
It's a journal article, and it makes it very confusing because they go back and forth on these things, and I think the main gist is that most of the studies they've been doing is kind of what I would call moderate carbohydrate, not so low. They do discuss the low, 20, 25 grams, but a lot of the studies they're doing are involving 100 grams maybe, maybe 75 grams, depending. I think the takeout for this whole thing, and what they're saying is there's now no real effect on certain things, but
yeah, their conclusion was low-carbohydrate diets seem to have short-term efficacy in weight loss without negatively affecting blood pressure, glucose, and cholesterol compared with other diets. So what they really found is that where previously they had thought they might have negatively impacted some of these other markers for health, in fact, they did not. And but again, this is very hard to study these kind of diets because you have a lot of variables to control for. Yeah. And I think that we have to always look at these studies, and then we have to kind of do the proof in the pudding with our own bodies, don't you think? Isn't that what we've kind of found?
Well, I certainly found what I thought the paleo diet was in the beginning is not what I am doing right now. I mean, it was a good track to run on. It's changed because I feel
I'm more like the Wise Traditions diet.
Probably so,
We call it the Yes You Can diet.
Yeah.
Yes, you can have this if you
do this.
Get it from here and you prepare it like this.
Right. So it's the quality of the food. And a lot of these studies don't take any of the quality of food in
Absolutely not.
They're just
using
at all.
They're using
standard American diet and trying to tweak it that way. What I did want to bring up on this, of course, is that we have this great study by the Manhattan study, which really crushes the cholesterol myth.
You know, this is really great to know because we've been going over this over and over again, that a lot of people think that when people talk about eating a high-fat diet, I think they have visions of cholesterol. And again, it's not whether or not you have high or low cholesterol. It's is the cholesterol in your body damaged and oxidized? And the Manhattan study says that, kind of opens up with our article here. It opens up, this was in the Grassland Beef blog. It says the next time your doctor says you need to lower your LDL cholesterol so you don't have a heart attack or stroke, show him the results of the Northern Manhattan study. And the researchers that conducted this study, Nico, found that higher LDL cholesterols, this is the one a lot of people call the bad or the lousy cholesterol.
Right.
The higher the LDL cholesterol was linked to lower stroke risk. There you go.
Right.
Now we know that LDL, all cholesterols are actually carrier molecules. And, we need this LDL also to deliver our hormones and our signaling molecules. So, I don't think that we want to push that down into the gutter. I think we need to have healthy LDL levels.
Is the amount that's going into the liver, and the HDL is the amount going out of the liver.
Right. It's kind of we're turning it back. But
Right.
the whole point is they're both important. So
Yeah.
I don't like it when people say
Right.
one's lousy and one's good and one's bad, that HDL. So previously, most things have focused on the fact that people said that HDL was the part of the cholesterol that was the good cholesterol. Well, now we're hearing LDL is good for us too. So let's go on.
Yeah, but one of the things that this doctor is talking about in this thing is that he measures level of amino acid homocysteine. It's a better predictor for heart disease and stroke risk than the conventional tests that we've been doing for cholesterol.
Been telling my clients that for years.
Yeah.
And what's the fix for homocysteine?
What?
B vitamins.
Really?
B vitamins. And guess where you get a lot of your B vitamins?
Meat, animal food.
I know, but that's why we see a lot of vegan vegetarians. I wouldn't say a lot, but oftentimes many of them that accidentally eat a couple cupcakes here and there because they are vegan, right?
Right.
And so they'll because of their sugar indulgence, will find that they may have high homocysteines, or people that have an aversion to meat.
And a lot of these things, of course, we're talking about end-of-life situations where the last 20 years are really impacted by your diet during your lifetime. So think about 60 to 80, 80 to 100. Think about living there and what is the quality of life. And what we're finding out, at least what I'm finding out, is that my diet today is better than it's ever been. I feel better than I've ever been. Mind, body, spirit, everything is in line. It's so much easier. No stress about food at all. Doesn't matter when I eat, and I'm not eating constantly. I'm eating a couple of times a day with maybe
your food
shake
or your life isn't revolving around food.
Right.
I mean, folks, listen to this. There was another study along the same lines that was published this year that said it was over a study on 70,000 people. The author of that study found absolutely no link between LDL cholesterol and premature death in people over 60 from heart disease. That really speaks to my heart. So many older people are being scared into artificially lowering their cholesterol with cholesterol-lowering drugs, which have been proven dangerous and not effective, particularly in people, over midlife. So, as you mentioned, it's really the amino acid homocysteine, and it is the best predictor for heart disease and stroke risk. I like to think of homocysteine as an indication that your inside of your arteries are being scratched up like a chalkboard,
Yeah.
fingers on a chalkboard.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the vitamin Bs are so important. Vitamin B sources, chicken, fish, kidneys, liver, eggs. Of course, then they list bananas, lima beans, walnuts. And the danger with listing those things, they have other things, especially bananas. So if you want your vitamin B up and you eat a bunch of bananas, your sugar is going up too.
Right, exactly.
So, and you don't have that kind of problem with the protein with the added fat. You do with the carbohydrates and added fat.
This is crucial here, why it's important. One of the reasons that when we formulated the Primal Edge that we have, and it's kind of our supplement that helps support our show and what we do here, and was important to us that we would get the fully bioavailable forms of the vitamin Bs. Believe it or not, many people either have poor digestion or they're using synthetic coal tar derivative, poorly absorbed supplement tablet forms of vitamin Bs, and they're not getting the benefit of it. They're not getting the protective levels of the Bs that keep the homocysteine in the right level. And, so I really like a full complement of the B, the full spectrum, which that's, what we put into the Primal Edge. I use a fermented form, too. I add it to my tonic. I have that terrific tonic in the morning, and I take that before I go, but in that I have Bs that I sip on all during the day. I also like that Dr. Sears actually wrote this article, and he mentions also choline, which is in the B vitamin family, and trimethylglycine, or TMG. That's betaine. We also put that in the Primal Edge. And I'm just making this comment that, we're kind of done for you. We made some decisions, but we want you to know there's reasons behind what we do. There's good science, and there's good research that says this is what we need to do. So, the best way to get plenty of these nutrients are eat your well-sourced, well-raised, healthy animal foods, eggs, and some grass-fed beef and wild seafood.
Yep, that's for sure. Folks, I have a brand new newsletter coming out next week. I still have the old one here, so please pick that up. It's $10 a month, gets you 2 issues. And
we find articles all month to put that in there and save you a lot of time so you can be up on the latest in health.
We do, and also pick up some Primal Edge, one-shot wonder, $89 gets it to your door. We'll be right back, folks.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Oh, no. The Clintons are in it. The Clintons are close. I can't believe you. Ugh.
Welcome back, folks. What were we talking about?
Be careful about talking politics on the sidelines. Oh, my gosh.
Saturated fat could be good for you, and this is a Norwegian diet intervention study.
Yeah, we were in our study mood this week, so we had to pull up studies. Yeah.
So this is at the KG Ben Jebsen Center for Diabetes Center, which is the University of Bergen. It raises question about the validity of a diet hypothesis that has dominated for more than half a century, that dietary fat, particularly saturated fat, is unhealthy for most people.
Yeah, and these researchers actually found strikingly similar health effects of diets based on either lowly processed carbohydrates or fats. In the randomized control study, they found that 38 men with abdominal obesity following a dietary pattern high in either carbohydrates or fat, of which was about half saturated. The fat mass in the abdominal region, liver, and heart was measured with accurate analysis, and some other key risk factors for obesity and cardiovascular disease.
So the high intake of total and saturated fat did not increase the calculated risk of cardiovascular diseases.
Mm-hmm. And the participants on the very high fat diet also had substantial improvements in several important cardiometabolic risk factors, such as ectopic fat storage, which is fat on the top, blood pressure, blood lipids, triglycerides, insulin, which is what I believe is the key hormone for metabolic health, and blood sugar.
And I like what they say in the study, high quality food is healthier, and that's the key that we always talk about on the show.
I bet you they have a lot higher quality food than we do up there.
Yeah.
I bet they do.
For sure.
I don't know. I haven't really checked into it.
Both groups have similar intakes of energy, proteins, polyunsaturated fats. The food types were the same and varied mainly in quantity, and the intake of added sugar was minimized.
Oh, that's kind of nice. They were minimizing the sugar, just changing the, okay. So they looked at the effect of total unsaturated fat in the context of a healthy diet, rich in fresh, lowly processed and nutritious foods, including high amounts of vegetables and rice instead of flour-based products.
That's very good.
So that's kind of nice. That's kind of a nice, I think that's a well-designed study.
Yeah, the fat sources were all lowly processed, mainly butter, cream, and cold-pressed oils. So these people are tapping into what we always want, the high-quality food, and let's see where we stand then.
Yes.
Because that's really important.
And they actually found that saturated fat increases the good cholesterol. For those of you that are trying to improve your cholesterol numbers, you should increase your saturated fat. I think this is a way that maybe vegans might see some improvements if they choose, or vegetarians, if they choose not to eat a lot of animal foods, make sure they're cooking their vegetables in butter.
Yes.
Or coconut oil, see?
Yeah, of course the vegans couldn't use butter.
Well, you're right. A vegan wouldn't,
Yeah.
but a vegetarian might. Because they might use it. Yeah.
So our findings indicate that the overriding principle of a healthy diet is not the quantity of food or carbohydrates, but the quality of the foods we eat.
Well, boy, it sounds like they've been listening to our show.
Yeah, saturated fat increases good cholesterol. Saturated fats have been thought to promote cardiovascular disease by raising the bad LDL cholesterols in the blood, but even with a higher fat intake in this study compared to the other studies, the authors found no significant increase in LDL cholesterol.
That's what we just heard from the other article, too, that actually, in fact, there is no such thing as lousy cholesterol, LDL cholesterol. Any cholesterol can be oxidized, so the key thing is making sure that you keep the cholesterol you have healthy and unoxidized.
The results indicate that most healthy people probably tolerate a high intake of saturated fat well, as long as the fat quality is good and the total energy take is not too high. It may even be healthy. It may even be healthy.
Oh, they're still so afraid to use those words. They have to put in those exclaimers, it may, it might, or we should study it more, or whatever. So future studies should examine whether people need to limit it. But the alleged health risks of eating good quality fats have been greatly exaggerated, folks, and it may be more important for public health to encourage reduction of the processed flour-based products, i.e. the grocery store food conglomeration profit makers, and the highly processed fats and the foods with added sugar. So, I think this is just to kind of give you some ideas that, folks, we're on the right track, and we're guiding you to be on the right track.
Yeah, and so what I'm taking from this study, too, is they're saying that when you have a piece of food, if you don't add anything else to it, it's probably a heck of a lot healthier than a processed food, a food that's gone through some kind of process, adding other things into it. So taking just your piece of meat and deciding that this is just good enough, like I said, I've evaluated my food, and if I find it's a little too dry, a piece of meat or something like that, I'll put some butter on it.
Right.
So I go by the taste, because the taste is what really drives all of us, I think, in a sense, and we want our food to taste good, and if it's dry, we need something else, and that something else has got to be to enhance the taste. It either has to be a sugar product or it has to be a fat product. It can't be anything else.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of people add both.
Well, yeah, and that's
a lot of both.
even worse.
Right.
Yeah, so if you just add the sugar, that's bad. But if you're adding sugar and fat, so it's really much more healthy just adding the fat to it. And that's the theme for the show for sure. Adding fat is an important thing.
Okay, so I saw a meme or something that said one of these days they're going to make bacon packets so that you can feed 2 people out of it. In other words, like, one person could eat all that bacon at one time. But in other words, it was just kind of stimulating the idea that, bacon's good. And go ahead.
Well,
and
you ever
eat it.
had a good bacon day? Well, my wife and I, once in a while, maybe every 3 months or 6 months, will say, okay, Sunday morning, let's just eat bacon today. And what we'll take a whole pound of bacon, we'll make it up, and then we'll have it around all day, and we have that for breakfast.
No, I haven't ever done that, but
it's kind of a cool thing.
I could see.
And you'd be surprised that you may not finish that pound. Mm-hmm. Because you're
so full.
Well, it's not full. You're satisfied.
That's a good way. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, you're satisfied.
You're satisfied.
And that's a great way. With a lot of fat-based foods, you get satisfied before you get full.
That's right.
You don't have that bloated feeling you get when you have a lot of carbs.
Well, and that brings to mind that breakfast is so important because the next meal is determined by how satisfied you are during that first meal.
The question is, when is breakfast, though? Okay.
Well, whenever breakfast is when you break the fast, so it doesn't really matter when it is. But the important thing is, and the thing is, if you are fasting, and say you don't eat that morning, that's fine. You're in ketosis. It's not going to change. You're not going to eat any sugar. But if you decide to eat and you have a fat-based meal, you're going to be very satisfied. So that next meal is much farther off.
Yes, I agree.
So then you're fasting in between. So kind of like I do, eating at 6 and 6.
Yes, right. You eat early in the morning, and then you kind of basically don't eat during the day.
Very seldom. If I go to jiu-jitsu, then I'll have a little shake of some kind, and sometimes I have a shake anyway.
See, that's kind of a little different than a lot of what some of these people are doing now. They're shrinking down the hours of eating. They want that to be within a 6 to 8 hour window. But this is the thing. You have to do what's right for you. And we're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing with you ideas of what you can do. And one of the things you can do, is to learn a little bit more about how we can have a fat-fueled brain. People feel better, they think better, they perform better when they have adequate fats because our brain is fat, and fat is its favorite fuel. So we'll talk about it. Is it unnatural or is it actually advantageous?
And you can find a lot of this information in the Health Signals newsletter. Only $10 a month gets you 2 issues. So please sign up for that today. So starting the new year off right, please pick up our Primal Edge and also watch for us on the Healthy Fit Club.
That's right. And we hope that you'll stay tuned for the next section where we're going to talk about having a fat-fueled brain.
Yes, the number here is 877-927-6648. Stick around, folks. We got a lot more. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. You know, one of the things that when we're doing these little talks about all these journal insertions, this particular one comes from the Scientific America, which is not a journal, so to speak, for physicians. So it's more for mainstream. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they do before they write an article like this, they have to put up a disclaimer. So
well, they have to bow to their masters.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies. They say,
so
first thing, don't let any of this information replace medication, and they end it on the same note.
Yeah, it says, please note I'm no way endorsing nutritional ketosis as a supplement to or a replacement for medication. As we'll see below, data exploring the potential neuroprotective effects of ketosis are still scarce, and we don't know the side effects of a long-term ketogenic diet. This post really talks about the science
Remember,
behind.
the science, as if they have... the only ones that have their science.
And it's not meant for any medical advice. So I thought it was interesting that they have to debunk the story before they even talk about the story.
And I'll preface that with, we know that the previous chief editor of the New England Journal of Medicine said that no longer are scientific studies reliable because they've been bought and paid for. There's an interested party that wants to debunk it.
Yeah, there's people giving the researchers money, or the researchers are on staff in many cases.
Yeah. So, you know, we look at this, and so we take part of it and maybe not, but evidently this person says, hey, this scientist is looking at a high-fat diet that might include bacon. He has a picture of bacon, and he says, this is not bacon, it's therapy, you know, because... maybe it's good for neuroprotective, and in the end, the article writer says, "Sign me up." You know, I'd like to try this.
I want to read this part. The versions of the ketogenic diet have been used successfully to treat drug-resistant epilepsy in children since the 1920s,
right.
Potentially even back in the biblical ages. Emerging evidence from animal models and clinical trials suggests keto may therapeutically be used in many of the neurological disorders, including headache, neurodegenerative diseases, sleep disorders, bipolar, autism, and brain cancer, with no apparent side effects.
Well, that's key, folks, because what we've learned is that this is the food of the brain, the preferential food of the brain. Well, I mean, I'm going to say this. We need glucose, but our brain runs very efficiently on ketones.
Well, the ketones are actually converted into glucose for the brain.
Right, exactly. So it's a raw material, so to speak. Exactly.
The beauty about ketones is that they can convert it in the body to whatever your body needs, not the same thing with the sugar. So we have two fuels. One is the sucrose or sugar, and one is the ketones. Ketones can adapt anywhere in the body to give you what you need, whether it's in the brain or the kidneys or your liver or just in your bloodstream. Sugar does not. It only has one purpose, to disrupt everything. Yes, it is a fuel, but it's like rocket fuel.
I should correct that. Okay. You know, the brain cannot directly use ketones, but it can convert these, and they're great part of getting the fuel to the brain. See, Alzheimer's and a lot of mental disorders are now being called diabetes type 3, meaning resistant. In other words, the cells in the brains are resistant, insulin resistant. Insulin is what? The key that unlocks cell walls so that the sugar can be used. So if you are insulin resistant in your brain, that means you can't use the glucose being the fuel of the brain. You can't use it, so you've got to
And you can't use the fat either.
And you can't, you're stuck.
And that's why it's dangerous. That's why that nutritional ketosis is okay, but ketosis in being diabetic is not okay because it stops all the fuel from getting in, both of them.
Right.
In essence, a ketogenic diet mimics starvation, allowing the body to go in a metabolic state called ketosis. Normally, human bodies are sugar-driven machines ingesting carbohydrates, and they're broken down into glucose, which is mainly transported and used as energy and stored in the glycogen in the liver or the muscle tissue, mostly in the muscle tissue.
Yeah, so when we get deprived, folks, of dietary carbohydrates, as we mentioned earlier in the first study, usually below 50 grams a day. So if we keep our carbs low, the liver becomes the sole provider of glucose to feed your hungry organs, especially the brain, a particularly greedy entity accounting for over 20%. The brain cannot directly use the fat for energy, so once the liver glycogen is depleted, without a backup energy source, humanity would have long disappeared in the eons of evolution. So we obviously have a secondary energy force, and that is ketosis.
And actually, I think the study is wrong. I think it's our primary
Well, that's
source.
what I'm trying to tell you. We
exactly.
These science journals are still reporting certain things that have then long since perhaps other people have determined this is not the case, that we were designed to use ketones so that we could survive.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
The secondary source is the sugar. It can help you from starvation if that's the only thing you have.
I mean, there are millions of continents and so forth that have, in many years when we've had the many ice ages and so forth, where there were no carbohydrates to eat. And the humans survived because the humans had a ketogenic mechanism of which to survive. So he refers to it as the backup is ketone bodies. Well, maybe it's the preferred fuel. Maybe it's the cleaner burning fuel. So again, this is the kind of news you get when you get it out of this source, and they're going to always slant it into the danger of the fats. But I think everything's in balance. I think you have to understand that carbohydrate restriction induces the pancreas to tell fat cells to release fatty acids, and then those will get taken up by the liver and converted into ketones and released into the blood. So once it's taken up by the brain, the ketones enter the TCA cycle to generate energy. So that's the way we actually take these ketones and convert them into sugar. So the question is, brain on ketones, energetics, and the oxidation and inflammation. So the brain is happily deriving energy from ketones, but why would this be protective against such a variety of brain diseases?
That's a good thing, and the answer may be energy.
Right. And despite the superficial differences, many neurological diseases share one major problem: deficient energy production. So during metabolic stress, ketones serve as an alternative energy source to maintain normal brain cell metabolism. So.
Yeah, a ketone diet also increases the number of mitochondria, so-called energy factories in the brain cell.
Well, that's the energy sources of our body.
That's right. A recent study found enhanced expression of genes encoded for mitochondrial enzymes and energy metabolism in the hippocampus, a part of the brain important for learning and memory.
Yeah, So the hippocampus cells often degenerate in age-related brain diseases, and this leads to cognitive dysfunction and memory loss. And so when we have increased energy by increased mitochondrial function, we're going to be performing better, and our cells will be protected from diseases. So ketones directly inhibit the production of violent molecules that perhaps create stress and inflammation in the brain, such as peroxidase that break down our glutathione. So it's we need to have our glutathione peroxidase, which is a part of our innate oxidation system. And the low intake of carbohydrates also directly reduces glucose oxidation. something called glucolysis. And so what we know is by having the fat as a cleaner burning fuel, we're not going to have as much oxidative stress as we have when we eat sugar.
That is the key, the clean fuel, folks. Get on the clean fuel. Your life does depend on it. And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
Welcome back to the show, folks. We're talking about ketogenic diet here. And,
so we were talking about this this information. The person says neuroprotection from ketogenic diets, wants to see the evidence. And are the real molecular changes that a ketogenic diet produces, is it protective against brain injury? And is there any real evidence? So we got some info. So there was a study with 20...
Back in the 1930s? Is that the one you're talking about?
This is, well, this one just says a study with 23 elderly with mild cognitive impairment showed that a ketogenic diet improved verbal memory performance after 6 weeks compared to a standard high-carbohydrate diet. We shared that with that doctor that made world-famous news here, that's right here in our area, who helped to restore her husband's brain function, who, he was only in his 50s with coconut oil.
Yeah, you're talking about the doctor, yeah. In a pilot study, in 7 patients with Parkinson's, 5 were able to stick with the diet for 28 days and show a marked reduction in their physical symptoms. In an animal model of...
amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS disease.
A ketogenic diet also led to a delayed motor neuron death and
histological and functional improvements. Although it didn't really increase their lifespan, but they're doing clinical trials on that.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing is enhanced performance.
Yeah.
Able to perform because they've got this alternative source of energy.
Yeah, and also it just shows that remarkably the ketogenic diet does not seem to be associated with side effects, significant side effects, although constipation, dehydration, electrolyte, and nutritional deficiency are common complaints. And I think the reason for this is the quality of the food.
Yes. Now, remember that we've determined that the real superfoods are the fat-based animal foods.
Yeah.
They are the nutrient powerhouses. They are the true superfoods. But we still can look to our pigmented vegetables and some fruits here or there to get some micronutrients because they're growing in the ground, some of those extra ones. And, of course, that's one of the reasons we like the Primal Edge, because it's loaded with all the micronutrients.
Yeah, and what brings this whole show to mind is really that if you do away with the middle aisles of the grocery store and don't buy anything that's formulated, that's processed, that's been put together with other things, you're way better off, and your health is going to dramatically improve if you eat the food in its natural form. In other words, you eat the whole animal, you eat the whole apple, you eat the whole lettuce. You eat the whole food and you don't process it in any way. You're going to be healthy.
Yeah,
I agree. It just makes a lot more sense to me.
Then the foods have all their little cofactors. And just to clarify, as Nico brought up very astutely at the beginning of this, although ketoacidosis, which is acidification of the blood due to pathological levels of ketones, typical maybe in someone who's got severe blood sugar issues, this was historically proposed as a side effect
of ketosis in general.
But nutritional ketosis simply, absolutely cannot achieve the level of ketones required to induce this life-threatening state. So nevertheless, there, as the author says, there still needs to be more studies.
And just think about that going on. First of all, you're a diabetic, so you can't control your sugar. So now all of a sudden you're eating fat and the ketones keep being produced by your body, but your body can't convert and use it.
Yeah.
And there's the danger. You're not getting any fuel from anywhere.
Here's our scientist here. Here's the scientist. Here's the plugged-in scientist. While promising large-scale placebo-controlled clinical trials in patients with neurological disorders are still lacking, the existing data needs to be interpreted to avoid people exchanging and making the decision to ditch drugs for diet. He's got to preface that drugs are always first. We feel opposite. We don't all, hey, that's what we do here, Counterpoint. We say look for diet before drugs. Nevertheless, what can we say?
Have a good day.
Yeah, exactly. See you next time.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.